Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today we're going to be looking at Black17 from Stockholm17 and legendary designer Lorenzo. Now, Lorenzo and Stockholm17 are one and the same. It's basically a one-man show. Stockholm17 refers to the fact that he's from Stockholm, and he sort of adopted 17 as a number that you see on all of his decks. It doesn't have any particular meaning that I know of, but it is the number that he uses. The number 17 line of decks is sort of his signature line. It goes back several versions. This is actually the 5th version of the series. Started with the V1 card launcher edition back in 2014. That one was printed by MPC. He followed that up with a bicycle branded version, number 17 in white. And then most recently in 2016, the number 17 Le Chat Rouge. Le Chat Rouge means the red cat. And so he started incorporating a cat into a lot of his designs. But the Black17 now is 2020's version of the deck. So let's jump into it, take a look, find out how he did. All right, starting with the tuck case. It's the Black17, so very fitting that it's done on this nice matte black cardstock, and it's covered with red foil that just really pops against that black, and it's nicely embossed as well. The center of the tuck just has this large, bold number 17 playing cards design, tons of flourishes going all the way through, and you'll find a couple of hidden elements, including the 17 in Roman numerals at the top of the 7, and then the cat kind of curling down the side and forming the stem, if you will, of the 7. So very cool design to it. Love the flourishes. You have the 17 again in Roman numerals and this little element at the bottom, and then a nice border around the edge, all done in red foil with little flourishes in the corners. As you turn to the side, you have a very simple 17 on one side and on the other. Bottom has your ad copy for Stockholm17 as well as USPCC, who printed the deck. And the top, it says Black17. The back here is going to be a representation of the back design of the cards. In addition to the red foiling, you can see some elements that are not foiled and just embossed on here. We'll look more at the details of that in a second. As you open it up, fancy Stockholm17 banner on the inner flap. And then you have some embossed elements, a diamond on one side, and a little hard to make out, but I believe that's just a little pill shape that has 17 in Roman numerals on it. Didn't really come out too well in the embossing. You get some absolutely fantastic inner printing as well, with these sort of chevron shapes or cubes, depending on how you look at it, but this geometric shape that just patterns the inside of the entire tuck case in red foil. Very cool design. I love that element. Probably my favorite part of the tuck. So there's the tuck case, but let's get into the cards. I'll start with the back design. Here it is. So done very simply in black background and then red and gray elements forming the design. The central element made up of a couple of cats curled around a diamond, almost like they're curled up on a mat there. And then you have lots of flourishes and embellishments going all the way around, kind of forming random shapes, both in red and then kind of a background of gray, giving it a little bit of a 3D effect that's kind of cool. Finishes out in a nice thin black poker border. And I will say you can highlight something that kind of bothers me. I talked about this in my last video where you can go see what a black core card looks like. But with these black back designs, and then you have a white core to the card, you can see here the center of the card is white. As it chips around the edges, you'll get these little elements of chipping. I had this right out of the box. Nothing too bad, kind of to be expected with the black cards. But if you get a black core card, the Fable deck from Lotrex, one that does that, then this chipping doesn't show up. So you do get a little bit of chipping around the edge, but like I said, to be expected with a black back card. Now, turning to the cards themselves, we'll start with the two jokers, and they both feature a cat. These cat jokers were originally introduced in the V4, the Le Chat Rouge version, and you have two different poses of the cat just in classic jester regalia, one in black and one in red. The black cat is done all just black and white design. You can see him standing there with his scepter. He has a little ace of spades reveal in his hands, and then Joker written in red in the corners. And then the red cat has an ace of diamonds reveal in his hands, and has a different pose using the scepter as a walking stick, and then the black Joker in the corners. Very cool artwork. I like those Jokers quite a bit. You also have a throwback to the Joker that was used way back in the V2 and V3 versions, and that's this jack-o'-lantern card. You see this sort of Ichabod Crane seeming character, this sort of scarecrow with the pumpkin head, crow seated atop him. He has a 2 of spades there in his hands, and then the number 17 spade pip front and center. Jack O written in the corner instead of Joker. So a third Joker with a throwback to one of the older versions. And another one that, beautiful card that was used in the Lucha Rouge version initially, the gaff card with the 17 of diamonds. Of course, 17 representing Stockholm17. Nice, interesting, unique gaff card that you won't see anywhere else other than on Lorenzo's decks. All right, now into the deck. And to start with the aces, all 4 of them are big, bold, beautiful aces. The largest one is going to be the ace of spades, but you can see the beautiful ornate design. It's made up of a mixture of sort of metallic silver inks and then black, forming almost like a maze going through the entire spade pip. You've got the cat making its way across the top of the spade pip, and just little pops of red, just little tiny spots of red to give it just that little accent of color. It's a beautiful shape to it. I love the design of this one. You'll know this one's the power race just by the simple elements at the bottom. You have the Roman numerals for 2020 when the deck was printed, and the 17 signature at the bottom. Pretty classic, easy to read pivot index in the corner. The other 3 aces though are pretty much equally ornate. You can see all of the detailing in them. The reds also have that metallic ink onto them as well, accenting with both the lighter and the darker reds. So you got the black and red represented. So there's your 4 aces. The number cards are all pretty standard, easy to read, nothing too special. Very small pips in the center, and they're all done in this interesting 2-tone shade to them. So half of them is the solid black, the other half just the shading with some lighter gray lines in there. Gives an interesting depth to it. And you'll see the nice custom layout. I really like the layout they did on these, especially as you get to the higher numbers, like the square for the 8s. So you get some custom layout on all of the pips. The red card's more the same. The shading's a little bit harder to make it out, but if I zoom in nice and close here, you'll see 1/2 solid red, and the other half has those lighter red lines in them. But same basic layout on the diamonds and the clubs and on the hearts. So a slight custom shape, but nice, easy to read, easy to use number cards on these. But the court cards are really where Lorenzo's artwork shines the most. Now these have evolved slightly over time, but you'll see a lot of similarities too if you have some of the previous versions of these. All of the court cards feature these beautiful 2-way designs and just very stoic, powerful looking portrait style pictures of the court cards. They don't follow any particular theme, like these aren't famous world rulers or going into any particular culture, but they're beautifully illustrated. The black cards in shades of black and gray, little bits of metallic silver in there as accents, and then against this mostly metallic silver background. Really beautiful shapes to them. I love the sort of pensive looks on their face. Just beautifully custom court cards. You have the index in the corner, and then the other 2 corners, you have this little pill with the XVII 17 in Roman numerals. So there's your spade courts. Into the diamond courts, these are the only ones that seem to have any sort of cultural reference. They definitely have sort of an Egyptian look to them, with the headdresses especially. The metallics now are a little bit more of a gold color, but there are your diamond courts. And then into your clubs. That Queen of Clubs is probably my favorite. I love the hairstyle with the, Princess Leia style 2 buns on either side. But probably my favorite of all the courts is that one right there. And then into the heart courts. Queen of Hearts is another really good one here. So there are your 3 heart courts. So definitely still very recognizable as court cards, but completely unique, redesigned, re-illustrated, beautifully by Lorenzo. So that is it. That is the deck. As far as handling, these are printed by USPCC on their classic grade stock, just an air cushion finish. So they're gonna handle really, really nicely just out of the box. Personally didn't have any registration issues on these, although I wouldn't put it out of the question with USPCC printing the deck. But I have no complaints on this one. They fan beautifully, they cut, they handle really nicely. So can't complain on that front at all. So nice job with the overall deck. Now this particular deck is not a limited one. Unlike some of the previous number 17 decks, this one, while they only printed 1,200 in the first run, he also plans to potentially reprint these in the future. So not a particular limited deck, meant to be a more accessible deck, which I think is absolutely great considering how big of a following his decks have now. So that's it. That is the look at the the 17 or the Black 17 deck from Stockholm 17. Definitely worth a look. I'll put a link down to Lorenzo's website where you can go pick up a deck for yourself, one worth having in any collection. So hope you enjoyed this look. Make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews and unboxings, and I'll see you for the next one.